One thing about me is wherever I am trying to find forest and something really cool to check out. So here I am in the deep south of Ontario, and I'm exploring a provincial park, Cedar Creek Provincial Park. It's really unique. It's a park kind of in development right now. So you can see here, it's really beautiful. Look at some little trees in there and the prairie flora. Like, isn't this amazing? Like, I'm so used to seeing all kinds of like invasive species and stuff like that. You know, now there probably are some in here, but isn't that neat? There's a little bit of forest over here as well. Not a whole lot of forest down here, let me tell you. Just a few percent, probably 2 to 5% tree coverage around here, but hey, here I am, checking it out. I'm seeing quite a lot of unusual trees down here, things I'm not used to, like hackberry and sycamore trees and eastern cottonwood. My Instagram, you've probably seen pictures of those. Really, really amazing trees. Some of these are huge old trees that have been around an exceptionally long period of time. And this area is fairly young. I'm not seeing too many old trees in here. But really, really nice to see this in a sea of agriculture. So this beautiful little tract of land is in the area of the traditional area of the Chippewa people, as well as the Attawandaron people, and on Haudenosaunee territory as well. In that community, this area was called the Beaver Hunting Grounds. So there is significant wetland in here. This is very important tract of land. A lot of interesting plants and animals seen here. And look at this old tree right here. So it's an area of national scientific interest. So it's currently sort of in, I guess, development. But you don't see this all that often. But this is traditional Carolinian forest that you see in this kind of climate. So you get a lot of trees that are more like tropical, like pawpaw and stuff like that down around here as well. Apparently it is a good spot to spot hawks and eagles and things like that. I can see why. Nearby here I'd seen beautiful red-tailed hawk. You know, I don't see them that often, but they like to hunt in vast open spaces, especially agricultural areas and meadows and fields and stuff like that. So they make this weird sound. It's like, Kia! It's that sound that you kind of hear on TV specials and commercials, and they try to attach it to like, I don't know, like giant eagles or vultures or things like that. You know, that kind of sound you hear over the desert in a movie, that bird crying. That's actually a red-tailed hawk, fun fact. So pretty interesting to find that out, but when you hear them, it's just amazing to know that, you know, the hawks and eagles are still doing really, really well. And it's great that this area here is being preserved for a long time so that they have some habitat. Lots of deer trails in here. There's no hunting allowed in this provincial park. Well, at least I'm sure maybe within a management program, but not just generally speaking. So you can see some trails in and out there from animals. Water must be in there because I see like some trails right there heading into it. So hopefully we'll get a glimpse of the wetland soon. In this prairie area here, you can see lots of grasses and of course asters and Queen Anne's lace and things like that. A few little trees, you know, here and there. And a lot of these tall grass prairies, they do prescribed burns. Very important for the ecosystem here to regenerate. I don't know if they do it here. They do it in another area called the Ojibwe Prairie around here. Lots of ticks in there, and I don't want to trample this really sensitive ecosystem, so I'm not going to go bushwhacking, but just gorgeous. The hike in this park is pretty short. It's about 20 minutes or so, just around a big loop here, but the area itself is like 35 hectares that they've been able to preserve, so pretty neat. Again, you always want to stick to the trail because you don't want to damage anything, but you can get a lot of sights and sounds just being on this trail. I think there's actually some willow or dogwood over here. Unfortunately, there are some invasives in here. This is an invasive rose shrub here. You can see it's been so warm that's actually kind of starting to open up the leaves. It's kind of unseasonably warm this time of year. So this is an invasive in here. So even these you know, prairies aren't immune to this stuff. A more mature example of the Japanese rose there, the more invasive rose. You got the rose hips on there. This is what they kind of grow into, and you can see why they spread. I mean, lots of rose hips on there. Probably an ornamental from a garden. Fortunately, another invasive in here is this wild teasel. That's not native to here at all, but it is important bird food and stuff like that. So doesn't seem to be too prevalent in here, but every now and then you'll see a plant. Here's a beautiful native tree. This is the eastern red cedar. I don't see this that often where I have the cabin. The berries on here are very important food for birds and animals. So you can tell it's sort of like cedary with the way, you know, the branches and the leaves are. but just a little bit different than the eastern white cedar that we're used to seeing. So this is the red cedar. I'm just exploring in here, and there's some bird feathers. So I wonder if, oh, look at that, a little bit of a yellow tint on them, like goldfinch or something. So maybe the hawk's got a little baby bird in here, or there's a little tussle between a bird and a hawk. I haven't seen a body or anything, but some feathers. Looks like there's some old fencing in there back in the day. It's only a very small portion of the park that we're allowed to kind of walk in right now. They haven't quite done the development yet. So in here is a red osier dogwood. We see a lot of that when I go canoeing and stuff. It means the area's a little bit wet. You can see a little flecking in red on the stems there. And it's got some berries. Birds always love eating that, so it's nice to see some dogwood in here. It's a little pop of color. The stems are usually colorful. Now here is a native grass. This is woodgrass. It's nice to see some perennial grasses in here, not just like the Phragmites and stuff like that. Those are the invasives, but yeah, so this is also called Indian grass, but woodgrass is what we should probably be calling it. Good forage for animals and native to North America. Seems to be all throughout here. It's probably one of the most predominant species of grass in here. This is Canada goldenrod. You'll see a lot of this at the cabin. Beautiful yellow color in the late summer, early fall. It's native to North America, and there's lots of it in here. Just beneath the Canada goldenrod is white heath aster or frost aster. It's really cute, kind of a white flower. It's all gone to seed right now, but it seems to occupy just the edge of this trail that I'm on. On the ground, lots of oak leaves, so I have a mature forest in here. So a lot of acorns means lots of deer and blue jays, so that's really good. I had to stop and look at this beautiful plant right here. Of course, it's all kind of gone to like seed and whatnot, but this is called prairie cinquefoil. I had to look that up. It's native to this area. Red-tailed hawk calling in the background. It's native to this area. Isn't that just beautiful? I would love to see what this looks like when it's not all dried up for the fall. But this is a beautiful native plant. The stems on this can be quite sticky, apparently. You know, in the spring and summer and stuff like that. So gorgeous. As I'm hiking along through here, I can definitely hear a red-tailed hawk hunting somewhere. Cannot find one for you guys. But it's got to be over here somewhere. You just hear it kind of doing that call from a tree or something. This tree right here, just on the edge, is a gray alder. And it's really native to basically the US and very southern most parts of Canada. Lot of good food for animals, these alders. This is in the birch family. So, kind of recognized it right away with the way that like the tree buds and stuff were. But it's not a species I typically see, that's for sure. And look at the tree with this really crazy bark. Look at that. Look at the close-up of that. So speaking of oaks earlier, this is a bur oak. They are native to North America, and they have a really cool acorn that's really kind of fuzzy, and I do see those in my area. But look at that bark. That is so crazy. Really easy to identify. And speaking of trees with crazy bark, take a look at this. This is the shagbark hickory. These produce edible sweet nuts that you can enjoy. And look at this bark. It's insane. It is like peeling off the tree. This is what it does, hence the name. And if we can look down here, you can see the animals have already had at these hickory nuts. Look at that. Yum, yum, yum. All gone. Some of them are rotting out. You can see very important food for wildlife around here. Very important food for wildlife around here. Here's one that's relatively intact. Let's see if there's anything inside it. Nope. So shagbark hickory, super interesting tree. Isn't nature amazing? Look at this bark. Wow. Look at the bark flaking off all the way up. Still has a bit of leaves all dried up on there, but the nuts, oh, animals have had at them already. Very important tree for the species in this area. Oh my gosh, this is one of the most beautiful flowers I have seen here so far. This is apparently called mountain mint, and it is native to North America. And it has beautiful white clusters of flowers, but right now it has these sort of almost like purpley, bluish, like little seed pods here. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so we are coming up on a bit of a wetland here. I thought we had to bushwhack to get to it, but apparently not. So this is a bit frozen over right now. There's some little trail around it. I'm sure they're probably going to put up little duck boxes and mallard nests and stuff like that at some point. There you go. So these are apparently traditional beaver hunting grounds. Oh, look at the birds over here. Okay, so you probably can't hear it, but I thought those were swallows that I was looking at filming earlier. They're actually eastern bluebirds. So there's eastern bluebirds along this little pond right here. So there was at least a couple. That is so cool. They need to get bluebird houses up out here. That's fantastic. Wow, I haven't seen bluebirds in so long. Yeah, I couldn't see from afar, and I was trying to zoom in with with this little phone camera here. Couldn't really tell. But I used my Merlin app, and that's a bluebird call. You can kind of, I don't know if you guys can hear in the background, but they're calling just up ahead of me. There's also little tree sparrows coming in and around me, and that red-tailed hawk is calling like crazy. So this is really a really, really special spot. Just ahead of me here, there are horned larks. What a beautiful sound. They're all backlit, so it's hard to see, but you can hear them, and the app is picking up on it. Really, really beneficial if you're into bird watching to get the Merlin app. It's really cool. Well, thanks so much for joining me today to check out this really awesome little spot here in southern Ontario in the little remnant of Carolinian forest, and we get to see some of the beautiful tall grass prairies that were so prevalent down here before agriculture. So thanks for joining me on today's episode. I hope to see you next week. Take care.